You're listening to My Comic Life on the My Comic Life Podcast Network. Welcome back to another great episode of My Comic Life, folks. We are so thrilled you're here. If you're into anything comic book related, nerd, geek, video game, pop culture, movies, TV, you found your one-stop podcast for all that and oh so much more. Joining me each week in the My Comic Life studio, well, folks, he's the only man I know who beat Lando Calrissian straight up in a game of Pazak or Pazik, depending on how you pronounce it there. Alex, say hi to the folks there, Alex.
All right.
Already cracking one open.
I gotta do it. I gotta crack open this one after beating down Lando, dude. I just had to. This is a celebration time right here.
Celebrate for that Pazak
honestly,
win.
folks at home, I'm cracking this one open because we got a banger of a show for you today, and I honestly can't wait to get into it. Please, Sam, take it away.
All right. Boom, folks. Starting on the Marvel side of things, early last week, Marvel released a feel-good video entitled Marvel Celebrates the Movies, narrated by a touching monologue by none other than Stan the Man Lee. This video featured several legendary Stan the Man Lee. This video featured several fan-favorite moments from the past decade of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The scenes covered were some of the best the Marvel Studios has ever offered. Alex, just starting out here, what was one of your favorite moments within the Marvel Cinematic Universe over the last 10 years?
I got watching through that video, and really any time that I see, obviously spoiler alert. If you guys haven't seen it by now, then you kind of deserve to have it spoiled. But during Endgame, when Cap is, suiting up to fight all of Thanos' army on his own, and then all of a sudden everybody shows up. And whenever they show the in-theater, recordings that they have of those, I just get goosebumps every single time. Like, I am immediately transported back to sitting in that theater after, 10 years of just movies and 10 years of just building up to that moment. And when you hear Sam just go on your left, and and the whole crowd just erupted, and it was just so electric. It was probably the number one best moment I've had in a movie theater. I mean, it'd probably be between that and maybe some in Star Wars when good old Han Solo showed up or something like that. But yeah, I think that's probably got to be it for me. You got one, Sam?
Oh man, I mean, you stole mine right there, man. I mean, everything you said is 100% spot on true. Yes, when Sam goes on your left and he comes out of the portal, and Captain America finally screams "Avengers Assemble," and he summons Mjolnir to his hand, and yes, and it cuts away and it shows the audience reaction. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. I was there. The movie theater I was in, erupted in applause and screams of just sheer joy and, elation. I mean, this is why we go to the movies, right here for shared moments like that. You can't, it's so hard to recreate moments like that, but oh my gosh. Yeah, that's it. I guess the only other one for me really is the first time the Avengers, came together in Avengers Phase 1, when they did that big kind of spinning shot around all of them in New York City, and you see Hawkeye grab an arrow, and Black Widow load her pistol, and Thor, spins his hammer. But I mean, no, nothing tops the Endgame on your left Avengers Assemble moment. Alex, do you ever get emotional in superhero movies?
Oh man, I'd have to say the only guy who can get me, man, is Peter Parker. He is, just because he is my number one favorite superhero of all time, and to see him brought to life, and I'm immediately just transported back to when I was a really small kid, kind of reading comic books on my own in my room, and it just sometimes it just gets to me, man. It's always the moments where New York ends up coming together, oh, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. it's always that. I'm like, yeah, Spider-Man, he's messing with me
Oh
too,
man, you must have
So
lost it when all the crane
that's
operators in the Andrew Garfield one all came together to help Spider-Man, right?
I mean, honestly, I was like, no, that's completely unrealistic because ain't no crane operator getting up out of bed for less than 185 an hour. But so. But that one, Spider Man is the only one who can really get to me. But what about you, Sam? You gotta. I
I
know you're a
I
little bit more
am I
sensitive than
am
I am, so I'm
I am
dying to
I
hear
am the
this
sensitive
answer.
one. Oh my gosh, I was bawling all throughout Endgame. The on your left moment, like when I saw like all the superheroes come back. Especially oh my gosh, yeah, when like Peter Parker like flips out and like his mask rolls back. You want embarrassing? Like second date
Yep.
with my current girlfriend, and I'm like, "Hey, baby, what do you want to do?" And she's like, "Oh, I haven't watched Endgame yet, and I hear that's on Disney Plus. Do you want to watch it?" And I'm just like, "Son of a bitch, I'm gonna be crying during this one." Luckily, I mean, she was fine with it. But yeah, no, yeah. So tons of moments during Endgame, definitely. Yeah, like I totally get pulled in by a really great superhero film, and yes, I totally, yes, get very emotional. And like you, Spider Man does get to me. Like when he got dusted in Infinity War, cried then when he came back, cried when Tony hugs him, sobbing. Let me see the end of Endgame. Spoilers here when the hologram is talking to his daughter and he's like, "I love you, what? I love you 4,000 or 3,000," and then Hogan's
Mm.
Happy Hogan's sitting with the daughter on the porch and he's like, and she's like, "I want cheeseburgers," and he's like, "You know what? Your dad liked cheeseburger." Fucking A, man. I mean, just pass me an entire box of tissues. I'm just bawling, bawling, bawling my eyes out. Okay, so yeah, definitely.
I was actually just got reminded of another one that because you were talking about how you and your current girlfriend hadn't seen Endgame and it was on Disney Plus. Well, um, so Britt had not really watched any Marvel superhero movies, so we went through all of them like in
Oh, okay.
order. And so, but when we got to Black Panther,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
it was so hard to watch now. That movie
God.
is so hard to watch now, man. Uh, and I know we never really took the time to kind of say anything on this show because it's kind of a really super touchy subject. But it's a tough watch, man. But it's
Yeah,
still a
and
great
much
movie.
love and much respect to Chadwick Boseman and his family. He did an amazing job bringing Black Panther to life.
Absolutely.
But still staying in this whole Marvel cinematic universe, Alex, what is your favorite and what is your least favorite Marvel studio film from Phase 1 to Phase 3?
I have to say always my favorite Marvel movie probably always will be like The Winter Soldier. Like to me, that's the perfect movie. It was right up my alley, dude. And I guess that's why I liked Falcon and the Winter Soldier so much. It was because it was just like it. This spy thriller and with tons of action. So and my least favorite, I would go probably. Oh man, it's kind of a toss up between Iron Man 2 and Iron Man 3. I didn't really
Really?
care for either of those. Yeah, I mean, we like I told you, we just went through and rewatched them, and yeah, they're still watchable, but that's only because of Robert Downey Jr. and Happy Hogan and but I did not care for the. I don't really like the one and done villain type of archetype, and that's really all you get with Iron Man. But do you got yourself a favorite and a least
Favorite?
favorite?
Ah, man, this is so hard to pick because there's so many great ones. Sort of a kind of a toss up between Avengers Endgame for me and Thor Ragnarok because I love the
So good.
humor and just like the light kind of easygoing feel of Thor Ragnarok, but I love the payoff of Avengers Endgame and just like this has been building and building and building, and finally, and I mean like it is so hard to like, especially like when you've been like what like building to this moment for like over like 10 years, and it's so hard to get that right, and they got it right, they got it so right, and it still blows me away. I still got goosebumps talking to you right now about it. So I mean, yeah, Avengers Endgame. Least favorite. I'm not gonna pick on Thor: The Dark World. Like that's too easy. That's like everybody's like go to is like Thor: The Dark World, Thor: The Dark World. Um, I guess yeah, I'll go Iron Man 3 just because it kind of had like a lackluster villain. Even like the weakest Marvel movies to me, kind of like Thor: The Dark World or Iron Man 3, they still have great action sequences in them, which almost make them like passable for me. Which is why like I don't even hate like the weakest of these Marvel films, because I'm like, okay, the story's kind of plodding along here a little bit, but also like he's throwing out these like great action scenes that are visually fascinating to watch and really kind of pull me back into the movie. So that's why it's really hard for me to say like I really didn't like this one or didn't like that one. There were some that didn't reach me as strongly as other ones did, and those to me would be yeah, Iron Man 3 and Thor: The Dark World, which I guess I'm kind of throwing in there now. But like I said, I don't I don't have the internet fanboy hatred for these films that like a lot of people do.
Oh yeah, that to me is a little bit too much. Like, what did you expect? I know you're not going in here thinking you're gonna get the Shawshank Redemption. So let's all just kind of take a step back and realize we're here to just kind of escape. But I guess that wasn't all that was in the little feel good
No,
video, was
the
it, Sam?
second half of the video launches fans into a smorgasbord of Phase 4 visuals and what to expect in the future for the studio. Starting with more solid looks at Marvel's next two at bats, Black Widow due out July 9th and Shang-Chi on September 3rd. The promo enthralls viewers with more quick cuts of action. Then the teaser takes a very surprising turn when it gives fans their first look at the Eternals November 5th. Now, albeit this is a very brief look, but it was still enough to set the internet ablaze over director Chloe Zhao's, now award-winning director Chloe Zhao's first foray into the superhero genre. Alex, out of this second part, did you see anything you liked?
I really like that shot of Angelina with the sword there. That I guess that she created out of light. That was a pretty sweet shot, and I honestly can't. I like it was just so brief, man. You didn't. I mean, we didn't get our look at the Black Knight that I'd hoped that we were gonna get. We did get our look at Selma Hayek, which I'm
Oh,
always
same here.
appreciative
We
of.
we love
Um,
Selma Hayek here on My Comic Life.
but that I dug it, man. I dug it a whole lot, and we say this damn near every week, man. Whenever we talk about the Eternals, it's just like I really can't wait for this. It's been kind of really quiet about this movie. I guess I don't for whatever reason, I guess maybe they want everybody to focus on what they have immediately coming up with Black Widow and Shang Chi. But uh, I I just can't stop thinking about the Eternals, dude, and because it is gonna be, I think, a really big step for Marvel that we can because I think it's even Kevin Feige was talking about how this movie was going to be the most kind of diverse cast that they're going to have in a Marvel movie up to this date, and you really see that when you look at who the cast is and kind of the gender bending and the they're going to have their first openly gay character, their first deaf hearing impaired character and stuff like that. It's really gonna kind of mimic the world outside your door, which I guess was one of the main messages of Stan's very touching monologue that he had in there. But did you
Oh,
how
I
did you feel
loved
about it,
seeing the
Sam?
Eternals footage. I've had a crush on Selma Hayek since I was in fifth grade, and I first saw her in Fools Rush In. So anytime you want to put Selma Hayek on the big screen, even for a millisecond, I'll fucking take it, man. I loved it. Uh, uh, the shots that stood out to me were like seeing like the Eternals like assembled together. Like I love those kind of like wide arcing group shots. And another thing that caught me off guard was Kumal Nanjiani, man. Like I've seen him play like comedic and meek and kind of like weak and second tier. But I swear, man, like he stepped out of his trailer and like took his sunglasses off, and I was like, "Whoa, dude! I got some like BDE vibe from you there, man. Like
Yeah.
you're looking more like authoritative and badass." And like I was like, "That's very cool to see." Like I'm excited to like see that, And yeah, like you said,
It really did remind me of that first when you first saw Chris Pratt in Guardians. His change from being, from his time in The Office,
yeah,
or
yeah,
no,
yeah.
Parks
His
and Rec,
time from
right?
being Andy Dwyer in Parks and Rec to yeah, kind of being more of like a strong Leading Mill. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's a great comparison there. But yeah, Kumal like stepped on the screen. I was like, dude, I was like, you're kind of commanding my attention now. You're not like in like the background or making like the easy joke here. Like wow, man, like you caught my attention. Kudos, sir. Um, but yeah, no, like I said,
I also really liked the I think that they used a lot of practical sets. I think was from the interviews that I've seen, and just how beautiful the movie looks. Like when they're standing on the beach, when Selma Hayek is riding that horse through that kind of meadow.
whew, okay, fanning
A lot
myself
of
now,
the
fanning myself.
I mean, a lot of the scenery does look really, really beautiful, and I do hope that we get a lot of that in this movie. And congratulations to Chloe Zhao on her. I think it was an Academy Award for Best Picture, Best Director for Nomadland. I haven't seen it, but um, congratulations indeed. So that's kind of where I'm at with that one. But I know, I have a question for you, Sam. Do you think this was the right kind of way to reveal something kind of as big as the Eternals? Like the Eternals was kind of Kevin Feige had kind of billed it as their biggest project of this Phase 4 um, segment. Do you think this was the right way to go about releasing any kind of
I
footage
think
on it?
so. I think they teased it and they gave us just enough with like like you said with like oh, Selma Hayek riding across that beach on the horse. Uh, yeah, and you got to see, of course, as we were talking about earlier, Kumal, kind of asserting himself as like a badass there, and you got to see Angelina Jolie create that light sword and kind of like swing it up in like a defensive position. Uh, so yes, like this was just enough of like a teaser, but now I want a trailer and like I want you to like drop it sooner rather than later because now like I want to know the plot of this film. So I guess yes, I guess this did its job because now I'm curious and like I want to know more. I want to know more about this. So yeah, I think this is the right time to be teasing the Eternals, especially with its release date coming up so soon. Were you okay with just this minuscule look, or like would you have wanted more, Alex?
I probably would have wanted it to be like kind of a like an extra special thing for the people that went to go see Black Widow in theaters. I would have liked for that to be kind of tagged on with that. But that's just personally for me. That's how I would have done it. Obviously the people at Marvel are like way smarter than we are, and they know what they're doing. So I mean, but that being said, do you like like these ensemble films from Marvel, like your Guardians of the Galaxy, or do you prefer these kind of like the crossover ones, like when I was talking about Captain America, you know, Winter Soldier, and Civil War, those kinds of things?
I really like the ensemble film, and this kind of goes back like the early like 2000 X-Men films. Like I really enjoyed those and thought those were done well with a great ensemble cast. So I think if you assemble the right director, which Marvel 9 times out of 10 really does. I mean, look at the Russo brothers, uh, you know, um,
Yeah.
doing like Civil War and Endgame. I think if you assemble the right director around a great ensemble cast, then yeah, like I think ensemble superhero films are great. They're really exciting. They're fun to watch. The only trap you got to watch is that like you write enough interesting stuff for all the characters on screen, and that can be like a real challenge with these ensemble films. But Marvel hasn't really misstepped to me, or it hasn't really misstepped with these giant ensemble casts. Like I care about all these characters, and I'm very invested and interested to like see where all their stories go. So no, I'm all for the ensemble route. How do you feel about that, Alex?
I could go either way. I do as long as it's done well. I don't really. I guess if I had to choose, I would go. I like the crossover stuff, man. I like my Iron Man versus Captain Americas, and um, whenever Archie and the gang team up with Scooby Doo, that kind of I like that kind of stuff. It's just kind of it jazzes it up a little bit. But I could definitely see the kind of the appeal of an ensemble film, especially when done right, which Marvel has kind of been able to do.
Now, this teaser here didn't let up off the gas and immediately launched into title card after title card of films that the MCU enthusiasts can look forward to over the next several years. That being Spider-Man: No Way Home, December 17th of this year. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, March 25th, 2022. Thor: Love and Thunder, May 6th, 2022. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, July 8th, 2022. The Marvels, or Captain Marvel 2, November 11th, 2022. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantum Mania, February 17th, 2023. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. And all of this before flashing the Fantastic Four logo on the way out the door of ending this trailer. Any thoughts on the titles that were given, Alex? Any surprises?
Oh, I was pretty pleased to see, the Black Panther. Once that showed up, and then it was like Wakanda Forever. It was just another one of those. Oh, here we go. Like, man, I'm gonna have to really prepare myself for this one. I this and as far as surprises goes, definitely probably the Marvels. I did not think that. I heard rumors that yes, they were supposed to bring in Miss Marvel in with Captain Marvel, but to go ahead and have her basically kind of be the co-star in their movie is going to definitely be something I'm going to want to watch. Other than that, everything was pretty standard, and this is all following the timeline. Which, you know, if you guys had been listening to any previous shows, and I know you have, you'd already know all this information so far. But what about you, Sam? Were you surprised, or was this all pretty standard for
Pretty
you?
standard, but still very excited. Marvel likes to, really stagger their summer release schedule just 2 months apart, which I'm kind of excited for because you got Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness coming out in March, and then March to April, April to May, Thor: Love and Thunder, May to June to July. You got Black Panther and Wakanda Forever. So I mean, like getting those three, like March, May, and July back to back to back is going to be really exciting. And then the Marvels come in November. So I think Marvel gives you an action-packed summer, and then gives you like a nice little break here, and then get you like revved back up, with Captain Marvel 2 coming in November of 2022, and then Ant-Man, coming in 2023 of February. But I want some of these now. Like I don't know if I can wait
Man.
till 2022. Like I feel like that's too far away, man. But hey, Alex, let's say that you can only go see two Marvel movies per year, one in 2021 and one in 2022, or two. Sorry, let's go. I'll give you two. Let's say you can go see two Marvel movies per year. Uh, yeah, two in 2021 and two in 2022. Which two do you pick?
I'm man. I'm so this is twisting my arm. Like Spider-Man is my dude, so he's obviously in there, and I'm gonna go with Eternals. Those are my two 2021s, and then 2022. Uh, Straight up Black Panther and yeah, Thor: Love and Thunder. 2022 is a little bit easier for me to decide, but 2021 is definitely hard. With no disrespect to Black Widow or Shang-Chi, because I'm definitely gonna check those out. But if I had to choose, yeah, those would be my four for those 2 years respectively. But what about you, Sam?
Oh,
I posed the same question to you.
you are breaking my arm here, man. Like it is broken. Damn. Shang-Chi and the Eternals for 2021. Uh, no contest here. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Thor: Love and Thunder. I totally agree with you for 2022. Oh my gosh.
Absolutely, and not to. I mean, no slacking on 2023 either,
No,
because that
because you got
with Quantumania is supposed to have Kang the Conqueror, and he's somebody that I'm really
and
excited
aside
to
from
see.
Salma Hayek, I got a huge bro crush on Paul Rudd. I love all things Paul Rudd, man. So yes, totally excited for this. But yeah, for those of you who haven't seen the promo yet, we suggest you check it out, not just for the action and the teasers, but for Stan Lee's very heartfelt message about the meaning behind the world he created. And it really is. I mean, like, that is such a powerful voiceover in this trailer, and it brings, goosebumps and tears to your eyes just hearing that Stan the Legend's voice again. It is great. But
Yeah.
hey, folks, jumping from the Marvel galaxy to a galaxy far, far away, this past week was May the 4th be with you, International Star Wars Day, and Disney Plus released the first episode of The Bad Batch. The 78-minute premiere episode introduces us to the post Clone War world in a galaxy far, far away. Now, Alex, did you do anything special for Star Wars Day? Did you watch the premiere of Bad Batch on this day?
Yeah, I think that's basically all I did for Star Wars Day. I think it wasn't supposed to be Free Comic Book Day, but I guess they moved
I
it
guess so.
something like that. So it got moved to August. So it was really just kind of a stay indoors and kick on the Bad Batch, and it was really like watching a little mini movie. But I did watch it on premiere day. What about you, Sam? Did you bust out the Lando cape, or
I
what'd
I
you
do
do?
have my full on Lando costume in a fireproof bag in my closet, man. Nothing's ever gonna touch that. But couldn't quite wear that to work, so I wore a Star Wars T-shirt with my Star Wars Vans, and I had a Star Wars face mask on that day, so I was completely Star Warsed out. When I got home from work
Man,
that day and I was cooking dinner, I watched episode 4, A New Hope. And then I also watched a little bit of Solo as well, just to get some, Donald Glover, Lando love in there as well. Had to get a little bit of Lando into my Star Wars day there. I did not watch the premiere that day. I sadly missed it. I watched the premiere. I finished the premiere 5 minutes before we went on air tonight, so it's quite fresh on my mind. But yeah, the team of Clone Force 99 consists of a group of elite clone troopers with genetic mutations and specializes in taking on daring mercenary mission. Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Crosshair, and Echo made up the Bad Batch first established during the run of the popular Star Wars series Star Wars The Clone Wars. The first episode of the Bad Batch introduces us to one more genetic deviant by the name of Omega, a young female clone working as a medical assistant before joining the Bad Batch during the course of the episode. Alex, what did you think of this first episode, man?
I actually had no like experience with the Bad Batch whatsoever going into this, but it wasn't like I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything, and they did a really good job of kind of introducing everybody to the different members and kind of. I mean, obviously you watch it and you're like, oh, okay, the guy with the sniper rifle is obviously a crack shot. The giant dude is the strong one. The one with the Ryu headband is the leader. Like, it was pretty easy to, and their names are Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Sleepy, Sneezy. Like they're pretty all like self-explanatory. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to kind of jump into the show. I thought it was really good. Um, One thing I know, did you notice that they all look the same too? That's by design, right? Because they're all
Yeah, yeah,
clones,
they're all
right?
yeah
Like,
they're all supposed to look that way.
and I think they're all voiced by the same. I don't have his name, and you'll have to excuse me, no disrespect, but I think they're all voiced by the same guy too in this series.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, except for Omega, I think she's voiced by a lovely young voice actress. So, but yeah, I liked it. I dug it. It was a little bit kind of predictable. Like the whole time, I'm like, oh well. I mean, obviously, Crosshair is gonna be a bad guy. Like he was just giving me vibes the whole time. But what about you, Sam? This episode is fresh on your mind. Please give us your thoughts.
Really enjoyed it. Thought it was fun. Thought it had a great pace. A nice mixture of action with character building, which is always great in my opinion. Uh, this one gets a solid B plus. 8.5 on my list. Just loved the introduction. Loved that like I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything by not having watched the Clone Wars before this. Like they really did like a great, just like brief intro, and then just pulled you right into this. And so thank you for that because I always hate it when I'm like, damn it, what's that plot thread mean? Or like,
Yeah.
who's that guy over there? You know, I'm like, shit, I got to go back and rewatch all this other stuff. I did think I saw a young, and I got to go back and see if I can catch his name, Canon Jarrus from Star Wars Rebels. I'm pretty sure that was the Padawan that ran off in the beginning, or they got Freddie Prinze Jr. back to voice, this guy because that was definitely his voice. But like I said, that one name escapes me.
I did not notice.
Yeah,
that.
but that was.
You think that was Kanan?
Yeah, I think that was Kanan Jarrus at the beginning because in Star Wars Rebels, you see the Bad Batch, and fans or listeners, if I'm wrong, light me up and let me know. But there is a Star Wars Rebels episode
sure
where Kanan Jarrus enlists the help of the Bad Batch again because the Bad Batch is living in an old, like Gen 1 AT-AT walker, and like that's like their house now. And yeah, Kanan goes and finds them and enlists their help in the Rebels, and that's how like I was like, oh, these are the guys from Rebels that I've never seen in Clone Wars before, but because I watched Rebels a little bit, now I recognize these guys, and it was fun to see, younger versions of themselves. But as we've seen in like several Star Wars shows, there's cameos, there's pop-ups, there's crossovers. Alex, would you like to see any specific cameos in this Star Wars show, or like any characters you would love to see pop up?
So, I guess spoiler alert. This is post Order 66, right? So we can't have like you can't say like Mace Windu or nothing like that because obviously he would be dead.
He's not
now.
dead.
Oh, he did.
My boy Samuel L. Jackson can survive anything.
I think, yeah, if they threw like I don't know, man. You're gonna have to come back to me. You first, man. You first. Come back to me. I'm kind of stumped on this.
Oh man,
who would you like to see?
Obi-Wan, of course, always Lando Calrissian.
Yeah.
Maybe they help like escort Princess Leia, from like one place to another. So yeah, those are the top three that come to mind. Lando Calrissian, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and yeah, Princess Leia. Those would all be kind of fun to see. Or if they ran like a little smuggling mission with like a young Han Solo. I mean, always cool to see Han Solo show up in a show. Does this give you any inspiration there, Alex?
Yeah, I'm gonna go out of left field and say I want to see Jabba the Hutt.
What?
I want to see young, money hungry Jabba the Hutt before he became elite mob boss of of the Hutt family. I want to see kind of the rise of the Hutts. I think that would be a really cool episode.
All right, and the Bad Batch is called the Bad Batch because they're each given a different genetic mutation that kind of makes them really great in one area of like tech or like leadership or explosive. So, given that premise, Alex, like what would your genetic mutation be, or what would you want it to be if you were a deviant clone?
Oh, paying my bills without having to be reminded with my phone. Yeah, that's what I'd like. That'd be pretty sweet.
Oh my gosh.
What about you, Sam?
I guess I would want to have like the sharpshooting skills of Crosshair, but I'd want to have like the attitude of like Wrecker about it all. Just kind of boisterous and loud and just always cracking jokes and never take anything too seriously. Much like I do on this show.
He really does steal the scenes.
Yeah. No, I think combining like a dangerous sharpshooting skill with like the personality of like a Wrecker would be like a great fun mashup there. But hey, the Bad Batch premiered on May 4th, and also released a second episode in the same week on its regularly scheduled Friday releases. There are 16 episodes slated to encompass the first season. It only took simple math to figure out that Disney Plus was going to have a scheduling conflict on the horizon. Loki, the highly anticipated Marvel Studios series, was originally set to release on June 11th, a Friday that would have also included episode 7 of The Bad Batch. Noticing this problem, Disney acted quickly, moving Loki from June 11th to June 9th and announcing that the show would be streaming new episodes on Wednesday. Do you see a world where Disney Plus has new episodes dropping daily? Would you have moved The Bad Batch instead, Alex?
I can't really. I mean, I guess with everything being on demand, I could see it happening. I just don't think that Disney wants to kind of tie up that much capital that that fast. But would I move the Bad Batch instead? It's easy to say yes, but I think that they are still in the process of trying to woo Dave Filoni because he's to me, if you have Tom Hiddleston on one side and Dave Filoni on the other one, who's going to be who's looking to bring in more cash in the long run? And I think that is Dave Filoni because we don't even know if they have a Loki season 2. Do we? I don't know.
No, all we have
But
is some vague Marvel producer throwing out the quote that WandaVision doesn't lend itself to a multiple season story arc, which I know you're happy about. Uh, but that shows like Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki definitely, have like a strong potential to getting a season 2 because their shows lend themselves to a multiple season story arc.
so that being said, I see why they ended up choosing to move Loki. I do think Loki will be the bigger of the two shows, but I do think that Dave Filoni will bring in more money to Disney as as a whole because of his amazing mind and his ability to story write. So um, I I wouldn't move the Bad Batch, and I hope to see a world where Disney is going to be dropping new episodes daily. But what about you, Sam? Same question.
I don't need to see Disney drop new episodes daily unless it's going to be for like a different show, like each day of the week. I mean, we grew up, like Monday nights, like you had like this show, and like Tuesday nights, like you had, like Smallville, and Wednesday nights was Star Trek, and Thursday night, was Supernatural, and Friday night was like the X Files, So I mean, like, and you only got one episode a week, and that really got you hyped for the next week's episode, and also it gave you time to like discuss with your friends, like, hey, did you see last night's episode? What did you think about it? What do you think's going to happen next week? This is
Yeah.
the format that we grew up on, so I'm totally fine with them not dropping daily episodes of this. No, I wouldn't have moved the Bad Batch. I'm fine with Loki being on Wednesdays. I mean, I know a lot of the Marvel shows have dropped on Friday, but with it dropping on Wednesday now, if you want to wait and watch Loki on Friday, you can. If you want to watch it on Wednesday, you can. I still think Disney Plus is still establishing a Star Wars foothold. I think establishing the Marvel foothold was actually easier for them than possibly the Star Wars because Star Wars has been hit and miss. So no, I mean keep the Bad Batch on Friday, keep it going, and if it stays consistently well, you've got another great show alongside your man. We talked about this show, and I'm blanking on its title. Alex, Bounty Hunter Boba Fett show. Wow, how am I? How am I?
Oh, the book of Boba. Or are you talking about the
Mandalorian.
Mandalorian?
Thank you. Wow, man, that title eluded me. Because like you've already got like with like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you've already got WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, and now like this is going to be like the third new show. Now I know Star Wars had previous hit shows on like Cartoon Network and everything, but they haven't had like a ton of hit shows yet on Disney Plus outside the Mandalorian. So yeah, so no, keep the Bad Batch where they are, keep it going, and just keep building up your Disney Plus original Star Wars shows there. Like I'm totally fine with that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Anything else on this, Alex?
Please, people that are listening, let us know in the comments. We do have a couple of weeks before Loki starts, and we're gonna start our where we cover it every week. So let us know if the Bad Batch is what you would like us to start covering in our signature weekly style, or maybe it could be this next show that Sam is going to be telling us about
Yeah,
here.
surprise, surprise, folks. We are ending our show here tonight with Netflix. I mean, something we talk about a little bit here, but not a ton. But Netflix has thrown its hat back into the superhero arena. Jupiter's Legacy released May 7th on Netflix streaming service. The first season consists of 8 episodes and is based on a comic book series by Mark Miller, or Millard, depending on how you say his name, who also wrote and created, Kick Ass. He wrote Civil War and of Old Man Logan fame. Now, this series, Jupiter Legacy, follows the story of the world's first superheroes who received their powers in the 1930s. In the present day, they are revered as the Elder Guard, but their superpowered children struggle to live up to the legacy of their parents. Alex, what do you think of Netflix kind of just out of nowhere re-entering the superhero genre?
Yeah, it really was out of nowhere, and I think you had some great thoughts, so I'll leave those ones to you. But I will say I do like that Netflix is stepping back into it. Didn't. Okay, so I liked Daredevil a lot. I liked Daredevil a lot. I did not care for Iron Fist. Jessica Jones was kind of boring to me. Luke Cage was all right. Punisher was good, and Defenders I didn't even watch because by that time I was just over it. But uh, that being said, I did not like how they kind of got the shit end of the stick when Disney had purchased Marvel, and it was just like, nope, pack it up. Marvel just kind of went and took their ball and went home, and it was like game over. So I like that Netflix kind of took the time to do a lot of research. They picked up an amazing comic book writer in Mark Millar, and I'm glad that they're getting back into it because it's kind of the more competition, the better the show product is going to be. But what about you, Sam? Please tell us about your how you feel about this.
No, I'm excited. I think there should be a friendly rivalry between like Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus, hell, Peacock. Throw your hat in the ring. Let's see what you do with superheroes. Why not, man? But no, yeah, like you just said, competition sometimes breeds the best in people, and so yeah, I think we're gonna get some really great, really dynamic, superhero content from a variety of people, like that we wouldn't have ever heard from before. Case in point, right here, we're getting Jupiter's Legacy from Mark Millar, and that's something I would have never thought we would have seen coming to screen, but luckily superhero properties are catching on like fire nowadays, and so yeah, studios are trying to bring as many of them to screen as possible, whether it be like small screen TV format or movie format. So yeah, no,
So speaking of never heard of it, you did have some thoughts on Netflix's kind of marketing for this.
oh yeah, no,
You care to share those?
yeah, no, Netflix, man. Like when Stranger Things season 4 is coming, like you guys give me like months in advance warning. You drop 3 trailers, and you're like, get ready, the return of 11 is coming. This, man, I got like one trailer, like what, 2 to 3 weeks ago, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that, and all of a sudden, release date's here. That's the only thing I think that could have hurt this series. You didn't give enough build up, enough trailer. You didn't buy enough airtime. You didn't advertise this show enough. You better hope that word of mouth of this gets out. A lot of people want to watch it because I would hate for you guys to stumble out of the starting gate with such a rich property, all because you failed to get your marketing department fired up enough about this, man. Now,
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that. I think that I mean, I did know a little bit about this show, but I had no idea when it was releasing, and I was doing my research, trying to write some notes for the show, and I was just like, wait, what? Like, is this out right now? And I had to pull up Netflix on my phone and just like, oh wow, it is out. Let me go ahead and throw that in the watch now. I have seen, maybe like the first 10, 12, 15 minutes of it. It does seem pretty good. So I will be, checking it out, and I guess, you have more details on just how much of it we can watch from day
yeah,
one
the
here,
show
right?
released the full season on day one as a standard procedure for Netflix, I gotta ask you, Alex, do you like this? Or do you prefer like the Disney method of like one episode a week? Like, what do you think? Do you want to watch it all in one sitting, or do you want to take time to like digest the episode?
I guess something like this that's not really super duper popular. You can go ahead and release it all at once, or I guess if you're Netflix, because that's kind of their shtick, is that they give it all to you that day one, and damn the subscribers, we're pushing this out. But and I can't believe I'm saying this. Like, I guess I would rather take the slow burn, man. Especially with, I guess it's a catch-22 because you do get your Falcon and Winter Soldiers where it's like we really got to kind of let it marinate and talk about it, and it makes for great water cooler conversation and everything like that. But then you have like the WandaVisions where it's like, man, you guys should have just released all that at once and just let me get that over with, dude. So it's you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But if I had to pick one, just give me the drip feed. Let me just watch it bit by bit, and I'll be able to kind of discuss it with my friends, which is really what this is all about. But what about you,
Oh,
Sam?
I'm totally with you. Give me the drip feed. Give me the one episode a week. Let me really think about it. Let me possibly go back and watch that episode again. Just have it fresh on my mind before you drop the next episode. Yeah, let me talk around the water cooler. Let me text you and be like, oh my gosh, Alex, have you seen it? What'd you think about this? What'd you think about that? Yeah. No, I'm totally fine with like one episode a week, one episode a week, one episode a week. I don't need the full on, like, here's everything all at once, enjoy, bye, method of that. But hey,
We have to act now in between Marvel
yes.
shows.
But Alex, it wouldn't be a Mark Millar series if it wasn't heavily violent. Do you think with Jupiter's Legacy and other hyper violent shows like The Titans, Invisible, The Boys, and Umbrella Academy, could this cause some sort of desensitization in viewers? And furthermore, do you worry that the desensitization will lead to more gratuitous violence?
I think it had a mainframe
Yeah,
malfunction
yeah.
there.
It's a lot of words spitting out there tonight.
I do think if that these hyper violent shows will try to one up each other, and that may ultimately lead to somebody's downfall. Somebody's gonna push the line way too far, and then they're gonna rein in all this shit. So I don't look forward to that day, but for the time being, yeah, it's kind of cool to see, or like when you're watching The Boys, and then that first 10 minutes, man, when that girl just like completely just gets obliterated, um, or in Invincible, where it's just week after week, this dude just getting his face pummeled in, or the when you watch Titans, like every episode, you're like, wow, that's really not supposed to bend that way, or it's like stuff like that is really kind of it's up my alley because that's what we grew up with. But I just can't wait for like HBO to set their foot in the ring, and it's just gonna be like it's just gonna shut everything else down. We're just gonna literally see a human being get put in a wood chipper. And it's gonna be like, okay, that's enough for me. Like but you said that you do like this kind of gratuitous violence, Sam. What do you have to add here?
Yeah, I see your point there, and not every superhero show releasing needs to be like over the top gratuitous violence, but I mean with shows like The Boys and Umbrella Academy, and especially like Invincible and Jupiter Legacy, I mean they really are transporting what was on page to screen, and so I salute them for not shying away from being like, look, man, these are mature comic books for adults, written for adults by adults. These aren't, your animated Teen Titans. This isn't your Superman. This isn't your Batman. Like these are, you know, like I said, like adult comic books written for adults, and they're gonna cover adult subject matter. And sometimes, yeah, that subject matter is gonna get violent, and it's gonna get really violent. So no, salute to them for not shying away from and being like, look, this is what's on page, and we're going to bring it to the screen because this is what the fans want. Now, like you said, though, we don't need every single show to be like this, and we don't need like a one-up thing going on here where it's like, oh hey, you threw that guy in a vat of acid, then yeah, we'll put this guy into a wood chipper. Oh, wood chipper, I'll I'll one up your wood chipper and I'll see you a jet engine, and we'll throw him through a jet engine and you'll watch his bones and blood go flying out the back of that. No, we don't need that. But if the material you're basing your TV show or movie on has these in it, then yeah, go ahead and keep doing it. But like, you know, don't have Batman, just like strapping bat bombs to people's crotches and then like blowing them up. I mean, just because Amazon, did like this great, incredible, violent superhero show on like Invincible. I mean, like, don't go that route by any means, But
Where is
yeah,
she?
where is she? And all of a sudden, he pulls a knife out of like the bat belt and stabs Joker through the hand and like pins him to the table. Yeah, no, no. Look, if that's what's in the book and that's what you're producing for screen, then by all means. But like I said, not everything needs to be this way. Produce some fun superhero shows in between because yeah, I think if I keep getting slammed with like so much gratuitous violence, eventually it can almost become depressing. And yes, it can desensitize. There's the word for you, folks. It can desensitize you to it just a little bit. To like the point that like yeah, you wouldn't blink in like the Boys season 5. When like the butcher, like rips, like somebody in half, or like rips their testicles off and makes them eat them. I mean, sorry, that's an extreme example there, but you know what I mean.
All right, Tarantino.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like.
So let me ask you. Let me ask you, Sam. Are you going to be checking out this show? And if you are, do you plan on marathoning it, or are you just going to let like we talked
Oh,
about?
I'm gonna have to like slow drip this because like I've kind of like structured my TV watching schedule, kind of like an old school way, where it's like I'll watch Stargate on Monday nights, Babylon 5 on Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights is for Invincible. So now I guess Thursday night is going to be for Jupiter's Legacy, and like I'll be watching like 1 to 2 episodes at a time, but no more than really like 2 episodes at a time. What about you? Are you going to binge this in all one setting, or are you going to like slowly watch it?
Like watching the first 10, 12 minutes or so. It's kind of slow at first, but we'll see what happens because really with Netflix that's kind of their, like you said, their standard procedure where the the episode that you watch is going to leave off on a cliffhanger, and you're just going to have to go for the next one. That's kind of what they do. So I may end up binging it. If it were up to me, I'd let it simmer, but we'll see what happens. Now, you had some, you spoke about Mark Millar earlier today, and I guess Netflix had cut some kind of deal with him.
Yeah. Netflix has the rights to the Millar verse, as they're calling it, and they're planning on producing several of its properties, including the small town mystery driven Huck, the sci-fi fantasy epic Reborn, and the super powered heist anime series Super Crooks, starring Prodigy and Sharky. Sorry. The super-powered heist animated series Super Crooks, Prodigy, and Sharky and the Bounty Hunter. So this really brings to mind the question, Alex: are there any other authors out there that you would like to like see like their entire catalog or like an issue or two of theirs picked up by a production company? In fact, Alex, pitch me a show right now. Like what comic books, like like what author or like what like 2 or 3 comic books would you like to see? Like get their own TV shows by one of the streaming services.
So I like, so I have a couple authors that when I wrote that in the notes, I wasn't really thinking that we were gonna have to do this. I didn't think that you were gonna give this the green light, so I didn't really have people picked out. But I did look. I liked. We spoke about this last week when we were talking about Invincible, but Matt Wagner, he did that the show, what was it, Mage, that we had briefly touched on last week about how we wish Amazon would pick up some Image shows. So watching that kind of as an animated type of Invincible style show, or even his other property, which was Grendel, which was super popular in the late '90s, and I also have Mike Mignola. I want to see Hellboy make a decent comeback,
Oh man,
whether that be
please
animated or
bring
not.
back Ron Perlman if you're gonna do that shit.
Yeah, and I guess I could say, you know, it's easy to say it, so I'll just say it. You know, Neil Gaiman. He has a ton of properties, and he's really smart and a solid writer. He's pretty good. He's a little bit too kind of like, how do I put this? He's talky for me. Like there's not enough punchy
Oh
going
my
on. Just too much
gosh.
talk. So, but he does have kind of the repertoire to kind of extend the universe. But the one that I just thought of now, and I'll run this by you. When you said pitch me a show, do you remember Valiant comics
Yeah, yeah.
back in the day?
I used to read the Valiant
Like those, like I
Valiant
want to
verse.
see Solar and Doctor Mirage and what's his Exo Man of
Yeah,
War,
Ninjak.
those kind of, yeah, Ninjak, and what was the one, Bloodshot,
Bloodshot. Vin
right?
Diesel did
That one,
did a Bloodshot movie, and it was fun.
it was garbage. but but um but I would like to see the Valiant verse get kind of a somebody pick that up. That's what I'd like to see. But what about you? You got, I mean, we like you ran to the bookshelf and
Yeah.
grabbed a few books off the. So
So
please share your
I
thoughts.
got three here. First one is called Rising Star by J. Michael Straczynski of Babylon 5 fame.
Mm,
A comet passes over Earth one night, and everyone who was born or created that night under this comet passing over is born a superhero. And spoiler here, I'm gonna spoil this book just a little bit for you. So if you don't want to figure out like the biggest spoiler in this book, pause it here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Spoiler. What you find out at the end of the first run of this book is that if one of those superheroes dies, the other superheroes or villains, like their power pool grows more, you know? So, I mean, like, if you could just only, like, control water out of, like, a water fountain, the next day, like, you could be, commanding a tidal wave, or, like, if you could pick up, like a 100-pound weight at the gym, but nothing more, you could be lifting a Volkswagen over your head the next day. And somebody figures this out ahead of, like, all the other superheroes and villains and is starting to take them out to, like, grow their own power more and more. And so you're trying to figure out who that is and why they're doing it. So, Rising Stars, J. Michael Straczynski, great book there. Second book for me would be American Vampire by Scott Snyder, Ralph Albuquerque, and Mateus Santalacco.
oh,
This is about a Wild West outlaw who was really a mean guy, kind of, but over the series of the comic book, he kind of becomes an anti hero. But anyway, he gets turned into a vampire, and it kind of jumps around from like his Wild West days to like Hollywood in like the 1930s and 40s. In fact, the first book you pick up with him in Hollywood in like the 1930s and 40s, and this young starlet actress who hasn't been discovered gets invited to this party with all these producers who are vampires, and they just eat her and savage her and like leave her for dead in a ditch. And he finds her and turns her into a vampire, and it's like, look, that's the address of all the people that fucked you over. Go have fun and kill them. So it's kind of dark, it's kind of twisted, it's kind of funny. American Vampire, great book, should definitely be turned into a TV show. And last one for me is called 100 Bullets by Brian Azarello and Eduardo Rizzo. Imagine if somebody in your life was unjustly murdered and their murder went unsolved. What if some man showed up with a briefcase with a gun, 100 bullets, and a automatic get out of jail free card? Meaning, like you call the number on this card, and if you get busted by the cops, you're automatically free of jail. And the only thing you have to do is you have to kill the person that unjustly took the other person from your life. Like that's what you have to do. If you don't do it, then everything you've been doing, like all the chasing around and like all the killings that you've been doing to like find this person, uh, all that information gets released to the cops. And so yeah, like I said, you're given a briefcase and a gun and 100 bullets, and you got to go track them down. So yeah, I think that makes for a great TV show right there. Those would be my three right there.
Damn, one man.
Well, I mean, what's even crazier about it's not even like one man. I mean, just like one man, shows up to like one person and like another person and like another person. And what's crazy is another minor spoiler here. You find out that like the people he's giving these briefcases and get out of jail free cards to, and the people he's having them track down and kill actually help his mission as well. And like he's trying to take down like an evil corporation. So in essence, he's kind of picking who he gives, the briefcase to, even though in the beginning you're led to believe that it's more, random than that. But yeah, so 100 Bullets, American Vampire, and Rising Stars. If you haven't read these comics, I recommend you read them. And yeah, I think these would all make really great TV shows or movies. So yeah, do you have any other comics?
I'm 100% sold. You sold me, man. So let me. I'm gonna go ahead and fund your little endeavor.
Oh, awesome! Yeah, hey, Netflix, Amazon, Peacock, because I don't think Disney Plus, HBO, yeah. Sorry, Peacock, HBO, yeah. Any y'all wanna get these done? You give me a call, and then Alex and I will get the ball rolling for you.
Absolutely. And you, my Comic Life listeners, just like with the end of the last segment, if you want instead for us to cover Jupiter's Legacy in this signature style, week to week during this pre-Loki time. Now, mind you, this will only be for the 6 or 7 weeks or however long it takes for us to get to Loki. But just let us know. So if you want us to cover a different show, let us know, please. If not, we'll continue to always give you the great content we do week to week. Sam, do you have anything left?
No, I just want to give a shout out to our My Comic Life fan of the week, Rick Dalton out there in Mississippi, sir. We appreciate you liking, commenting, and subscribing to our show. Rick Dalton, you are our My Comic Life fan of the week, sir. Salute to you.
Thank you so much, Rick.
Yeah. But as always, folks, damn it, Kevin Smith, I'm so sorry. I had you slotted for like the last 5 minutes of tonight's show, but we just ran out of time. I'm so sorry, man. Next week, I swear we will try our hardest to get you on. But hey, folks, continue to like our Facebook page. We post our episodes there every week. We have a YouTube channel. Just look for that oh so brilliant, oh so beautiful, oh so awesome My Comic Life logo and click that subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to us, and we are growing our YouTube channel slowly but surely with a dedicated listener fan base. We will soon be up on iTunes there. Again, we will be releasing that information on the My Comic Life Facebook page as soon as we get there. And email us, folks. Email us. Do you want us covering Jupiter's Legacy? Do you want us covering The Bad Batch more? Do you have a different TV show altogether that you think we should be covering? Email us at realmycomiclife@gmail.com. Again, that's realmycomiclife@gmail.com. But that wraps up another great episode of My Comic Life. So as always, folks, ditch the herd, be a nerd. Stay strong out there, my friends.